This one's gonna make me really happy.
It's time for reaction. Welcome in. Also
I've actually been holding on to this last one all week in hopes to be able to do it today. It's Sunday. This will be the last reaction I do before the live stream. This one's going to be kind of cool for me. Why? Because when I pulled it up, I saw a log drum. And for those who do not know, all kinds of hand percussion and tribal percussion. And I went to a festival in Austin, Texas back in the 90s. And there was a guy who went there who was Samoan. Actually Samoan. And he played it, fell in love with it. Now, I don't have a log drum. I wish I did, because I'd love to play one. Saw one on the stage when I pulled the video up and went, log drum. So Socrates, 1775. I call him Socrates because Socrates just flow with me. How about some Shepherd's Rain, the song Le Manu? Okay, I can do that. So this song comes from the Pacific Music Awards. It's a live performance by them, and there's a log drum on the stage. I hope they play it. I do not know, but I just saw it and said, I'm in. So for all those wanting to know, if you want me to buy a ticket to your show or buy your album, all you gotta do is put a log drum on the stage. Even if you don't play the log drum, I'll buy it. All right, here we go. Thank you for coming in. My name is Old School Nerd. Like and subscribe to the channel. Check out Old School Nerd Live. Our opposite channel will be in the description below here. It's where we're going to be doing all of our live streams coming up very, very soon. Everything from cooking and crafting and playing drums and D&D and, well, pretty much everything I would never do on this channel. So let's just get into it. Check out oldschoolnerd.com. It's got all of our social media post links. Also the Patreon link for those who want to help support the channel. We appreciate every single one of you. And the merchandise store. All right, guys. Last reaction of the week, even though the live stream starts in exactly 3 hours and I got to do all of it again. This is Shepherd's Rain performing Le Manu at Pacific Music. The dude's carrying a Samoan war club. Don't ask me what the name of it is. I don't know. But it's Samoan. Yes, there's a log. Dude, I'm sorry, but whether it's wrestling, like professional wrestling, or just life in general, anytime a Samoan male lets his hair grow out like that, you know, like Disney movie level, right? And they let their hair fall back over their face, and then they whip it back. And a dude that's got that expression on his face looks at you. I don't care how much of a badass you are. You get about this big and you're like, yes, sir. It is literally the most badass look on the planet. That Samoan warrior look. There's just next to the New Zealand the Haka, tribal Hakas. Those are pretty intense, but Samoans just don't do a haka. They just stand there. And they look at you like, what? God, it's awesome.
vai! Le Manu, sono via!
It's a very basic song, but it's got a really good hook, and everybody's in on the hook. And that's part of it. It's got that standard count, but then at the end of every measure, the bass player and one of the guitarists really just tags it hard, and it it's so tough. It sounds so badass. Yeah. He's not Adele. But think of it like this. He doesn't have to change his voice or try to metal growl. It's just him. You can't train that. That's genes, bro. And I'm not talking Levi's. Ooh. Nice tag. I like that a lot. Log drum time. Now, before we get into log drum time, let me just tell you what I know about log drums. Traditional Samoan Pacific Islander musical instrument. Literally, the name of it tells you all you need to know. It is a log that is hollowed out on the inside. Now, based upon the amount of inside of the log, the larger the space, the deeper the tone. Okay? The less space, the higher the tone. So one end of the log drum will be hollowed out more than the other end, and it's a gradual taper up. So as he plays along the log drum, think of it like, keyboard. Depending upon where you touch the key, from left to right, will change the tone and the notes of the song. You usually play with 2 mallets. Now, what makes log drums so difficult, and the reason why you don't see a lot of them, because they're not easy to make. Why? 2 reasons. Traditional log drums are either carved or they are burned out. Now, what they do is they'll light a fire along the top, and as it burns that wood, they'll scrape out the coals all the way down. I've seen 2 videos where one is carved, and I've seen one where it's traditionally burned. I've seen them done both ways. Here's the kicker. The real craftsmanship, 2 things. Number 1, making sure the taper is uniform all the way across. Otherwise, you have flat points. You have points where you have to go out and dig more, or you know, once you mess it up, you've messed it up. The other thing is, either whether it be the carving or the burnout, either way, how do you keep the log from cracking? How do you keep the log from splitting? Have to cure it properly. So the steps are very meticulous. It's not easy to do. If you want to go home and use your woodworking tools and make yourself a log drum, awesome. Problem is also, what kind of wood are you going to use? Okay, you're probably not going to use the same wood they use in Samoa or Island. Okay, talk about palm tree logs. Sometimes those don't work. There's different mahoganies. Those usually work, but who's going to spend thousands of dollars for a mahogany log? It's not. It's harder than it seems. I'm interested to see how this works in a live setting, because normally when you hear someone play a log drum, usually everyone else is quiet, because you'll hear the banging, but you won't hear the tonal notes as well. There's a lot of noise around. So normally when a log drum is played, everything else is quiet. Everyone's quiet, nobody's yelling, so they can hear it. Let's see how they do. I'm interested because I'm pumped. It's not mic'd right, not set right, and also to be able to pick up the sound of the log drum from a sound guy perspective. But okay, I'm gonna put my sound guy hat on. It looks a lot like a towel, but it's not a towel. It's a sound guy hat. Okay, as a sound guy, when you're mixing a live show, the hardest part is the fact that no matter what you do, without a drum cage and even with a drum cage, live, I know it's my sound guy hat. Without a cage or some way to separate live drums, it's really hard to keep the sound of those drums from resonating across the entire stage. Also, before the advent of in-ears, everything was floor monitors. You had a lot of ambient noise. Well, if you use in-ears, it's not as bad anymore. But to get the sound from all these other instruments to be heard, especially with their own amps on stage with them, it's going to be very hard to use the mic they're using. Technically, they should be using a point mic. Pointed, that mic is more of a open end. It's going to pick up a lot of ambient noise, so they can't really turn the mic up too much because you'll have an echo, a feedback. It'll cause all kinds of problems. So from a live performance standpoint, I think they kind of knew they weren't going to be able to hear that log drum very well. Look up Polynesian log drums or Samoan log drum playing. Check out the sound. It's very unique. It's melodic. I know people who actually have recordings of log drums and sleep to them because they're that comforting. In this environment, it was mainly just for show because you can't hear them. Everyone else would have to stop playing to really hear it, even with a mic on it, because of can't make the mic sensitive enough to really hear it with everything else going on. Sound guy hat is off. It's not a towel. It's a sound guy hat. God, you people are so rude.
To the temple!
Really good stuff, man. I like that. Nice ending. I like that. That was pretty cool. All right. So that was your boys from I do not want to so that was these guys from Smallest Shepherd's Rain. Yeah. Okay. The premise of it is very straightforward. I do like the tags. You've got a good groove. If you're showing up for a vocal performance, it's not going to be your style of music because his war chants and his style of singing is just that warrior style. You can't really let it go. The drummer and the bass work really well in a good rhythm cap. The highlights of this performance are the two guitarists. Both guitarists put really good tags on the end of lines that turned what would be a normally just straightforward, not boring, but simple arrangement into something with a little bit more flair. And sometimes that's all you need because they can't, I think they can be an elaborate musical band, but some of their sound is the fact, just like this guy right here, it's in your face. They're not going to sit here and dance around the situation. They're not going to be all fluttery. They want to get in your face with heavy grooves and big, heavy crunches coming off the rhythm guitar and the bass guitar, and that drum just drives it because that's what your lead singer's doing. He's holding a battle axe, a war club, a Samoan war club, for God's sakes. They're not coming to display musical prowess and sing you to sleep or get you to dance, unless it's dancing in a mosh pit. They're going to war. And I gotta dig it. Let's go to war, guys. Why not?